Next up in digital tools here is we're going to spend some time working on pictures and diagrams using Adobe Illustrator. This is the first session, so it's going to be pretty basic. It's about making some shapes today because you have to know how to do that, and there's some little tips and tidbits that I would like for you to know about. One of the things that will help you here is I have a handout that will be on Drive L, probably on the courses drive, that you can look at that will kind of lead you through this activity today. Now, I am not connected to the school network right now. I'm working on my Mac, so this is going to look a little bit different than it does on yours. But nevertheless, I will show you how this is all going to work. If you get to your courses drive, and I just got to find the right folder here. There we go. If you look for this handout that's on Drive L for this session, there will be a folder for this session, and it's called Intro to Illustrator, and it's a little PDF file, and if I double click that file, it'll pull it up here, and this has some instructions for you. It kind of tells you what the assignment's all about. This one's just worth 20 points. It's a pretty quick thing. We're going to make a series of shapes. It doesn't really have to look like much of anything when you're done, but you do need to know how to make these shapes and how to manipulate them. To get ready to do this, you'll have to use Adobe Illustrator CS6, and you can find that if you click on your Windows button in the corner and go to, in the bottom left hand corner, go to All Programs, look at Adobe Design Premium CS6, or it could say Designer Web Premium CS6, and then Adobe Illustrator lives inside there. So that's how you can start the program. Okay, you'll get Adobe Illustrator running. Once you're there, you'll click File and click New. I'll show you in this little demonstration how you can choose either portrait or landscape orientation. That's not too hard. I'll show you that, and then you just click OK. Now, once you've done that, here's the series of shapes that I want you to make. One of them is just a line. You know, they're all pretty simple. So, and I've got written instructions here for these, but I'm going to demonstrate them to you rather than just read through this. And I'm going to hop over here to Adobe Illustrator for a moment, and this is kind of what the artboard might look like when you get all the way done. Let me close a couple of things that we really don't need on this assignment. It's, again, just a series of shapes and things, and the colors are up to you, the sizes are up to you. That doesn't really matter a whole lot. All right, so this is sort of what it might look like when you're finished. I'm going to go ahead and close this one. This is kind of a finished copy of this, so I'm just going to close it and get rid of it. And what I'll do is click File, click New. I'm in Adobe Illustrator. I'll click File and click New, and you'll see this box pop up here. And really the only thing that you might want to make a choice about here is where it says Orientation. The first button right here is for portrait orientation. That means your artboard or your page goes up and down. Or the second button right here is for landscape orientation, and that makes it go sideways. I tend to like landscape orientation better, but it's really your choice. It doesn't matter to that. It doesn't matter that much, really. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK there. And this is called an artboard. All right, that's the term for it in Adobe Illustrator. It's an artboard. All right, so now we kind of work back and forth from that handout that I showed you a moment ago to just working on this artboard. And if I go back, the first thing is just a line of any color and thickness. Okay, well, I'll go back over here to Illustrator. The line tool is right here on the toolbar on the left-hand side, line segment tool. And you know, the quick thing here is you click, you drag, you let go, and that's it. Now, you might want to know how to change the thickness and the color of the line. So if I take this black arrow and I have that line selected, then here's what I can do. A couple of ways I can change the color of it. Down at the bottom of the tool panel, you'll see this box. There's two boxes down there. One's for fill and one's for stroke. Stroke is for like line colors and outline colors. So I'm going to click on that stroke box just to activate it, and then I think I'll double click it. Now, if you double click the stroke box down here, you will get a color picker. The color picker, you can drag on this ramp up and down. It's kind of rainbow colored, and you can drag up and down on the ramp to kind of get into a color family that you want. Like here, I'm in there's a lot of greens here. There's a lot of yellows and oranges. Here I've got reds. Here I got blues. So you can drag up and down. Then you can drag around in here in the middle to get the color you want. So I've kind of got this bright green color. I'll click OK there. Now, if you want it to be thicker, a fast way to do it is come up here to the top of the screen. And you'll see a setting here that says stroke, and it says 1 point. Well, I can just bump that up to whatever I want. And you see what it's doing there. It's making the line thicker. I made it 10 points thick instead of 1 point thick, and I have a thick line. Okay, good enough. Our next shape that we're going to make is an arc. Okay, an arc works like this. If you go back to where the line tool was and just click your mouse and hold it down, click the button and hold, you'll see this arc tool. So you just move your mouse pointer over here and just select the arc tool. Now the arc tool just works like this. You click, you drag, and it makes a curve like that. It makes an arc. Okay, good enough. And you can make that any color you want. Once again, you could come down here and select the select the stroke box down there, and I can make that any color and any thickness that I want to make it. It doesn't really matter. Colors and sizes are up to you. Now if I move on to the next one here, we're going to work on a spiral. Okay, the next shape here is a spiral. Okay, good. Well, I'll go back to Illustrator, and I'm going to click and hold on that same tool here, and there's the spiral tool. Well, all right. If I click and drag, I get a spiral. It kind of just draws it out for you. You can rotate it around a little bit. If you move your mouse, just rotate around, and there we go. Now once again, if that's selected with the black arrow, I could move it around. I could change its color if I wanted to. I could come down here to the stroke box and make it some other color if I really wanted to do that. I could make it a different thickness if I wanted to do that. So there we go. That's it. That one's easy. All right, next is a rectangle or a square. All right, well, here's the deal with this. The rectangle tool is not under, we've been using this line segment, arc, spiral, and I'm not talking that we don't want to use that, not the rectangular grid. I'm going to use this tool right here, the rectangle tool. Now, there's one thing to know about the rectangle tool. If you just click and drag, it's just going to draw a rectangle. Very nice. I'll do Control Z on the keyboard. If you hold the Shift key and drag, it's going to make a perfect square. So it just is a matter of what you want to draw. If you want a perfect square, hold the Shift key down while you draw it, and it will draw that for you. If you don't hold the Shift key, you can make rectangles of all kinds of sizes. All right, so I'll just draw in a rectangle here. Now it's got a blue outline, but it's really not filled up. If you look down here at the bottom of the tool panel, you can see the stroke, but this other box back here, this fill box, it has the slash. If I double click that box, I can say, well, okay, let's fill that up with maybe kind of a gold color and click OK. And now you can see that the box is filled up with gold. Again, if I double click that blue stroke box down here and I change that color, now it's outlined with red, and I can control all of that right on these two boxes down here, and the thickness of the outline I can control right here. All right, well, let's pick up the pace a little bit and wrap this up. Let's keep going. A rounded rectangle is next on our list of shapes. All right, well, if I click on the rectangle tool, the next tool down is a rounded rectangle, and if I click and start dragging, now here's one little tip. While you are dragging, if you tap the up arrow on your keyboard a couple of times, you'll see those corners get rounder and rounder if you tap the up arrow. If you tap the down arrow, they get less round, and in fact, you can tap, tap, tap until they turn out to be sharp corners. But what would be the point of doing that? Because you could do that with the rectangle tool. So I'll hit the up arrow a little bit to round that off, and there we go. And I think I'll just leave it that color just to save some time. I'm just going to move ahead. All right, the next thing on our series here is an oval or a circle. Okay, well, the oval or circle tool, if you click here where the rectangle tool was, it's this tool right here, and the ellipse tool will draw ovals or circles. Now, similar trick to when I had the rectangle tool there. If I just click and drag, I can make ovals of whatever dimension I want here. They can be real tall and thin or wide and flat. If I hold the Shift key down, it makes perfect circles. It locks it in and makes a perfect circle. If I let go of the Shift key, then it releases it to be any kind of dimension that I want. Holding the Shift key makes it a perfect circle. All right, so just keep that in mind. That's a little trick that you need to know. All right, back here to our next one is a triangle. Okay, and here's how we can do that. Let me get back to Illustrator. Okay, there we go. Now as we work our way down here, I keep using this same tool, but I just click and hold, and I've got rectangle, round, rectangle, ellipse, polygon. Okay, well, on the polygon tool, if I click and begin dragging, I get this kind of show. Well, that's not a triangle. All right, obviously that is a hexagon, 6 sides. So I'm going to tap the down arrow key on the keyboard while I'm dragging. You have to do it. It's a two-handed thing. You have to keep your mouse button held down. You have to be dragging the mouse or keep the mouse button held down and tap, tap, tap on the down arrow. I'm doing a little bit too quick there. If you tap on the down arrow until you get 3 sides, then you've got a triangle. Cool. All right. Now the next, I keep point to the wrong thing here. I'll get it in a minute here. All right, the Pentagon. All right, well, same tool, but a pentagon has 5 sides. So let's get back to Illustrator, and I've got the polygon tool running. So I'll click and drag. It's a triangle, so I'm going to go up arrow. I went too many. There we go. Just tap the up arrow until you have 5 sides, and that's a pentagon. All right, our next tool that we'll work on is a hexagon. That's back to 6 sides. All right, so I click and drag, I tap the up arrow, and I've got a, mine's being really touchy here. There we go. Okay, there I've got 6 sides. Perfect. Okay, and octagon is next. So again, I click and drag, and I tap up, and I've got an 8-sided, that's like a stop sign. All right. Next up here, a star with 5 points. Okay, well, the next thing here, if we go to our tool, we click and drag down here to the star tool. To begin with, the star tool usually by default just does a typical star with 5 points. Okay, there it is. Great, wonderful. Now the next thing on our handout says a star with 6 points. Okay, well, so I'll click and drag, and it works the same way as that polygon tool. If I want to add a point to the star, just tap the up arrow. And again, mine's being really picky for some reason. It's adding them awfully quickly. But there it is. I got a 6-pointed star. And the next one is a star with 8 points. So if I click and drag, I have 6 right now. So I tap up, and I'm pretty sure I got 8 points there. All right, so that's a 5-pointed star, 6-pointed star, and 8-pointed star. So you're getting used to using these tools and how they work. Now there is one last one on here, and it's the flare tool. Actually, I think I say lens flare here, but it's really just called the flare tool. All right, so it's the last one on this list. Now here's the deal with the flare tool. If I drag this out, it looks like that when it's just sitting by itself. But if I take the black arrow tool and I move it on top of something else, it kind of makes a highlighted shiny spot on other things that it's on top of, and that can be kind of cool. You know, I could lay it on top of this star if I wanted to, and you can click on it. It can be resized. The black arrow will help you resize things and move things around if you need to move things around. All right, so where you put your flare tool thing is really kind of up to you. I could stick it on here. So it kind of makes that spot of that circle look like it's got a highlight on it. It looks real shiny. All right, so you can do whatever you want with that. You can set it off, in an empty space like that, or you can put it on top of something like that if you want to. All right, so I've got this artboard collection here, all done. Great, wonderful. So we need to save this now. So what you would need to do is go to File and go to Save As, and you need to save this on your network drive. Now you got to remember that I'm not at school. I'm not connected to all the same school drives. So over here on the left-hand side, you'll see a thing that says Computer, and underneath Computer you'll have Drive H. All right. Well, you need to save yours on Drive H. Okay, it'll be your network drive. It's drive letter H. And the name for this will just be Shapes. For the file name, we'll save it as Shapes. Now, one thing that happens with an Adobe Illustrator file, and actually I should save this in a different folder real quickly here. I can do that real quick. Here we go. Here we go. Get these arranged the way I want. All right. You'll want to call this Shapes, so I'll just go Save, and then you're going to see this extra box pop up here. All right, and you may even have to click Save a couple of times to get the. And when you see this box pop up, you have to click OK. Don't cancel this box. You have to click OK, and that completes the save, and that does it. So folks, that is your very first assignment here in Adobe Illustrator. It's really pretty simple. It's about making shapes and knowing those little tricks that I showed you. So it's your turn. Have at it.